this video I'm presenting free sample libraries I designed to use in BlueARP strumming mode. These are both steel-string acoustic guitars with a different character. These instruments pay special attention to the velocity dynamics and to chuck strumming articulation. Let's check the character and the sound. The first one is called Blue Steel Guitar, and it's kind of more bright, pristine and polished steel string acoustic, as you see here. And if we play it a little bit, you hear these chuck strums, this kind of percussive hits. This is chuck strumming. And the second one is called BlueFSS Guitar. More warm, gritty, slightly unpredictable, like your average home guitar, which is vintage and kind of worn out a bit. Sounds like this. So you can hear it's more dirty, more fret ringing, kind of, but a bit less mechanic. And this one, steel string, which is more clean, I think it will sit better in a mix. It will sit better in a mix. And the second one, BlueFSS, it's better to use kind of as a single instrument. They're both based on a free sample libraries I could find online. I gave all the necessary credits. You can check the README file for that. And the Blue Steel Guitar, the first one, it's based on this sample library, which is said to have samples from Kurzweil K2000 steel string guitar patch. And the second one, BlueFSS, it's based on another free sample library you can find here. It's the name of this guitar. It's pretty dirty samples with lots of ringing. I spent lots of time EQing, kind of equalizing the levels, and at some point I wanted to abandon the whole thing because couldn't get kind of high quality sound. But in the end, I think this instrument has nice character as well. And first of all, some installation guidelines. You need to get this free sampler plugin called DecentSampler from the official website. Download it for Windows, Mac OS, or even Linux. And after that, after you install it in your system as a VST or audio unit plugin, you need to open the downloaded library from my website, either from here, file load, and it has this dslibrary extension, which is actually an zip archive. Or you can just take this dslibrary file and drag and drop it onto the GUI. It will also work. And after you have the instruments set up, you need to connect it to BlueARP, just the way you would connect it to any other synth, and you can check the manual for that. And after you do this, we need to select the patch here and switch BlueARP to the guitar mode, and we can play. And few important points here. First, about the sounds. Each library has 4 presets. First one is the normal one, Blue Steel Guitar. It's just single string guitar sound across the whole velocity range from 0 to 127. Yeah, but for the BlueARP, I recommend to use this second one, chuck velocities from 0 to 31. And how it works? On this lower velocity range, it has this chuck strumming sound. You hear this muffled kind of short sound. And 32 and higher velocities, we have a normal guitar sound. But you need to tell BlueARP that you have this kind of patch, so it will send right velocity information. And let's check it. So, for example, I have this pattern with chuck strums, and this is our setting, chuck mode. Let's reset it. Let's reset it first. And what will happen? So instead of chuck strums, we have this short and loud normal strums. And now let's switch it back to velocity based chucks, and we need to select less or equals 31 to match this patch actually. So now we have the right chuck strumming. Again, back to the default. And velocity split chucks. So it's important that you select the patch corresponding to this chuck mode setting. In this case, it will sound exactly as designed. Otherwise, you'll get some kind of loud short picks instead of chuck strumming. Maybe not completely wrong, but not exactly right. And I forgot to mention important thing. To get these new features work correctly, you need the latest BlueARP 2.8.6, which I just released. And it has some bug fixes for this velocity zone split, especially if you use velocity amplify. It didn't get the math correctly in previous version. And also I added the ability to add this check value velocity zone at the lower kind of part. So if you go below 63, it treats kind of chuck strumming velocity region as a lower part, and if you go above, it will be the higher part. So it's in this new version. The previous one won't get this correctly. And another neat thing, in the previous video I said that you have to set this chuck mode individually for each program, which is kind of quite a monkey job to do for all the programs in a bank above 100. And here you can do this right-click menu thing, choose Extras, and select Set for all programs, and it will apply this setting to all programs in a bank. So let's check it. For example, if I switch it to Channel 2, I go to Other Programs. Here's the previous setting, but once I select Extras, Set for all programs, we have everywhere channel number 2. And if we go back and set it to velocity below 31, again right click, Extras, Set for all programs. Boom, we're done. And now let's go to the settings. Let's check the settings we have here. First of all, chuck level, it's the relative chuck strumming level. Let me latch the ARP to show it. Constant strumming here. And I'm reducing the velocity of chucks. They are gone completely now. And now I'm making them louder. So now they're really loud. And this is kind of the sweet spot, I think, the middle ground. Then main release it's the release amplitude release of our sound. Let me show it on single notes. If I increase it, we have this kind of long tail, and if I decrease, abrupt cut of the notes, like just amplitude, e.g. release. This thing is interesting. Guitar body. It adds kind of, tries to mimic the guitar deck resonator. First, let's check how it sounds, then I'll explain the math. So, removing it completely, increasing. It adds this kind of boomy kind of sound. And the sweet spot is somewhere here, 0.10. This is the default setting. And the math is, it's convolution reverb, actually, convolution reverberation. But the same way with the convolution algorithm, you can mimic this resonating of the guitar deck. And I spent quite a lot of time to actually record my guitar impulse response by tapping it with some screwdriver, then recording it into my Zoom H2 recorder, and then trimming this sound and editing it in audio editor. Then we have reverberation from the included algorithms in this DecentSampler. This is the dry sound, and I'm increasing the reverb level. Sweet spot is somewhere here, 0.30. This is the default setting. The space size is basically the room size. This is the large tail. Yeah. So if you need it dry, then decrease it to 0. Yeah, then we have another patch with chuck velocities from on the high velocity range from 112 to 127. So here lower velocities, just the normal string sound, and on high ones we have this chuck. So the same sound, just different kind of velocity split between the zones. And chuck effects is just chuck strumming in case you need it separately. These are just chucks. And if we try to play the same rhythm, we'll hear only chucks. So yeah, it's kind of only the chuck strumming. And again, the recommended setting is this chuck velocities from 0 to 31. And just the same in this second library, BlueFSS Guitar. The basic sound, and with the basic sound, which gives this guitar its character, is that on high velocities you can hear this abrupt change in the sound. So much more ringing, much more kind of imperfection, especially here in high register. So this is it has two velocity layers actually, velocity split. It's really velocity split for the main string sound. This is the bottom layer and this is the top one. You hear much more ringing. And again here, this high velocity. So especially if you add velocity randomization, which is quite high here, 19%, some velocities will get above this threshold, which is here, I remember, 112. So everything velocity about 112 will get this high velocity level and fret ringing. And it gives it this kind of more live character, and we need to select the one that corresponds our velocity profile in BlueARP, which is chucks below 31 including. Yeah, and the same we have here. This is low velocity range for the chucks, and here chucks kind of more bassy. It turns out to be this way, and I didn't want to correct it. I think it works quite well. Yeah, maybe a bit too bassy, but I like it. And this is the normal string. And this ringing in the high velocity values. So kind of, yeah, more warm and natural, I think. Can even be used as a single backtrack for singing. It will be the cool thing. So yeah, again, it's pretty easy, I think, will be for you to install these libraries. Just make sure you set the correct chuck mode in BlueARP and select the right patch here so they will match each other. And I think that's it. Please write me in the comments if you try it and how it works for you, because I spent really a lot of time designing these patches. These are my free sample Steel-String Acoustic Guitar Libraries for the BlueARP Guitar mode. Hope you enjoy. Thanks for watching and have fun with BlueARP.